as Bill's already said, in the state of Arkansas, the mayor is the one and only that appoints and fires department heads.
It's not law, and I think this was just simply part of the back and forth between, there was a question of whether or not Parks and Rec would be coming to the city, and so I think this was part of a, don't want to call it a compromise, but this was something that was contemplated by Parks and Rec, and I think specifically put in there is something that was important in order for everyone to have unanimous approval to be moved over to the city. I may be speaking out of turn, but I think that's
No, Wayne, Mr. Wayne, the reason the commission put that in there is because when I was hired, I wasn't hired by the mayor. I was hired by the commission. So they thought going forward that would be where they didn't have really it's not their opinion, it's their voice that the mayor hears before he makes a decision, not controlling the mayor on whether the department head's fired or not. It was just to get that in there because it was a new thing with the parks coming under the city for that department head at this particular time since it was new. I don't think they have the say-so to keep the department head. I think it was just trying to make me feel comfortable as this is a change going forward that I couldn't lose my job basically, like tomorrow, but I can, but they're saying without consulting the advisory committee basically.
I understand Wayne's point. I completely understand it. It gives the appearance that somehow there's another body or another group that will be able to influence the decision of the mayor. I look at that less in that capacity because I still see the mayor as having full and complete authority over that department head.
Right.
And unless the mayor has a reason, I would support, this is bad to say this, but I would support that termination unless there was some evidence otherwise that it was personal or whatever. But naturally, I understand Wayne's concern. I'm less concerned with that at this point, given that the advisory committee only exists in the Parks Department.
Sure. Yeah, Wayne, I think if we had an advisory committee in other departments, that would be proper also.
And one thing we thought it was okay when we had the last discussion was that the mayor actually approves every one of the advisory committee members before they're appointed. So we thought we had covered that. So
Yeah.
I was just letting you know where the discussion came from, Mr. Wayne, so you'd have more understanding why that line was in there.
I would ask the city attorney too, when you turn this into the municipal legal review, did they have any concerns with any of it? Not just this.
No, I mean, the ordinance, the only thing that they put back was that simply remove the advisory committee, say, from law up into an advisory paragraph. That's the only
So it would not be true ordinance, correct?
That's correct. I mean, I think what this ordinance does, it puts in words what actually happens in real life with all departments. I mean, if the mayor is going to fire someone, he's unlikely to do it without consulting someone. And so this, I mean, he's going to, I don't want to get into examples, but if he chooses someone to terminate, most likely there's going to be conversations with people in that department, with people working under, and so I don't see that this does put in words that fact, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. So, and this doesn't require the mayor to do that either. I mean, it says, notice the words are not shall, but will consult. It's contemplated that he will consult. So this is not ordering the mayor to do anything. It's just trying to express an intention that the advisory committee hopes that before terminating someone that they will have some input because, again, they're coming under the city, whereas before they were more an independent branch. So.
Well, I certainly trust Wayne Cohn's judgment on this, but I will say the city attorney also has allayed any concerns that I have to some degree. It is kind of unique in that regard, but the department itself is unique because it has an advisory committee.
Yeah, at this point, it's not a legal question, but just simply how we want something to read on a piece of paper. There's no legal distinction between leaving it in there or taking
I'm satisfied with what we have, because I think the most important part of all is that everybody understands with department heads that they work at the discretion of the mayor anyway, regardless. And when a new mayor comes in, whenever that day may be, he may clean house, and he has that right to do so. And so, as Mayor Jackson did before he came in as the mayor, he actually held meetings, I believe, in both police and fire, in the process of selecting new chiefs for each of those positions.
Yeah, good point.
Before he ever got to, sworn in as the new mayor. He already had his selections made, but went through a process for those selections. So I'm okay with what we have. I think it'll work.
Okay. So,
I think, hey, Mr. Wayne, I think you wanted me to talk tonight about the, committee terms, the advisory committee terms.
Yes, and who's eligible for it?
Right. But as of right now, we have, 7 members of the commission. Right now, I'm assuming those 7 will roll over into the advisory committee, and we're gonna add 2 more. One would be a city councilman as being a voting member, and then 1 more, advisory committee person to have 9. So it'll be the original 7 plus making a city council a voting member plus 1 more person to give us 9 voters. So we still have an odd number. Those terms would start at 0 in January 1, but they can't serve no more than 3 consecutive terms in a row. So no more than 9 years in a row if reappointed. And the first year, there are going to be some that serve a 1 year, a 2 year, and a 3-year terms. So it would be offset when they get reappointed for this first time in January 1. But as far as the commissioners are concerned, the ones that are on the commission now, they would all be at 0, and whatever they draw or select to take, some of them may volunteer for the 1 year or the 3 year, and it may work out.
It's the reason that a sitting council member can be a voting member of that committee is that it has no, real tie to the department other than an advisory position, right?
Basically, before we take it to council, we felt like if there was a split vote, the city council's vote would be whether we take it to city council or not for approval. That's why we wanted to have them as a voting member.
So there was a little bit of thought into that process.
Yes, sir.
That's similar to planning commission because the members of council and the commission have a vote, correct?
yeah, yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel. You're on the planning commission.
Yes,
And you vote?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, based on what the 2 of you, Mr. Chonda and Mr. Boswell have said,
Okay.
I would make a motion, that we suspend the rules and place this ordinance on its, would that be first and only? Or no, this is their,
Did we want to?
Oh, no, we
do you
need-
want
we have to amend
withdraw
it. Yeah, we have to amend. So I will remove rescind my first motion. I'd like to suspend the rules and make a motion that we place this on its second and third reading by title only, changing the wording in section 5, to, denote
Department head.
department head rather than director.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mitch and a second, sounded like Bill. Any more discussion on parks? Roll call, please.
Bill Boswell? Yes. Heath Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Heath?
Yes.
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 Joe Williams?
Yes.
Wayne Combs? No. Chris Head?
Yes.
Mary Jean Krieger?
Yes.
Mitch Magnus?
Yes.
Linda DeWalt had to get off the call.
Okay.
She's no longer on the meeting. Motion carried.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to adopt?
We have to have the city attorney read it first.
My bad.
An ordinance dissolving the Harrison Parks and Recreation Commission, creating the Parks and Recreation Department, creating the position of a department head and other provisions therein.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mitch and a second by Heath. Roll call?
Heath Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Joe Williams,
Yes.
Wayne Combs. No. Chris Heath,
Yes.
Mary Jane Krieger,
Yes.
Mitch Magnus,
Yes.
Linda DeWalt, absent. Bill Boswell. Yes. Okay, I would just like to list, just for the record, the vote was Chris Head, yes, Mary Jean Krieger, yes, Mitch Magnus, yes, Linda DeWalt, absent, Bill Boswell, yes, Heath Kirkpatrick, yes, Joe Williams, yes, Wayne Cohn, no.
Correct.
Motion carried. Thank you, Jeff. All right, the next item we have is the rezoning ordinance for 214 West Ridge. Is Wade out there? Wade, are you close?
I'm here, available for any questions.
Do we need to move this through this evening?
There's been no request to fast track this, so that would be purely at the discretion of the council.
All right. I would make a motion to suspend the rules and place the rezoning for 214 West Ridge by title only on its first reading.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion by Bill and a second by Mitch. Any discussion on this? You all know what we're doing up there.
I'd like to restate publicly, I drove by
Yeah.
this, and I want to know publicly why we're rezoning, if Wade could address that.
The property owner requested the rezone because they do it from R3 to RZL, which the ZL stands for is residential zero lot line. They do intend in the future to split the property into two separate tracts, which would have a common wall, the zero lot line. So that was the intent of the property owner to request the rezone. Planning Commission reviewed that request, found that the ZL would be compatible with the surrounding R3. We've also, it's our understanding there may be some other properties in that area that may be looking to do the same thing. So basically, it's duplex that they rent out right now. They're going through the process to actually, instead of it being a rental duplex, two separate properties that can be sold.
The planning commission has approved this, correct?
Yes, they have passed this on with the recommendation to approve.
Okay.
Good. So we have a motion and a second. No further discussion.
Can I ask Wade a
Yes,
question?
we have Grant with us here.
Wade, I drafted this, but is it RZL or RZP? I have it as RZP, but I just want to make sure that we can always be corrected, and now's the easiest time.
It is ZL.
Okay. So I don't know if we want to change our motion just to correct a typographical instead of RZP everywhere, it should be RZL.
Okay. Did you hear that, Bill?
No.
I will
Okay.
make a motion,
Here we go.
to amend the ordinance to reflect RZL as the zoning change instead of RZP.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Mitch and a second by Heath. Any other discussion?
Bill, the only thing that's changing there is the wording was off a little bit between Wade and,
That's fine. No, it's no issue.
okay.
Okay. Motion and a second. Roll call?
Okay, we're going through a little learning curve with this new camera, and they are correct, your voices are hard to get
it takes just a second to switch to you. So when I call your name, would you repeat your name and then your vote, please?
Okay,
Heath Kirkpatrick,
Heath Kirkpatrick, yes.
Joel Williams,
Joel Williams, yes.
Wayne Combs,
Wayne Combs, yes.
Chris Head,
Chris Head, yes.
Mary Jean Krieger,
Mary Jean Graver, yes.
Mitch Magnus,
Mitch Magnus, yes.
Linda DeWalt, absent. Bill Boswell,
Bill Boswell, yes.
Now, that vote was,
motion carried.
that vote was for the amendment. Now we have to vote on the ordinance, correct?
Correct.
I assumed it was for both.
Okay.
yeah,
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
I took it.
I just want to make sure. So
Yeah.
procedurally, we're good.
Yeah.
All you need to do is read it
Yeah,
then.
I'm gonna read it now then. An ordinance amending section 14.16.16 zoning map of the Harrison Municipal Code to rezone certain lands from zone R3 medium density residential to RZL 0 lot line residential.
okay. Bill, still yours.
Last item I have is, the resolution for the street sweeper money. Wade, bring us up to date real quick on that. I can't get my information, so.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have it pulled up, but basically this is just a resolution approving us to apply for a grant to pay for a portion of the street sweeper that we have now budgeted to purchase next year. I believe it's up to $36,000 that would be available through this grant.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mitch and second by Heath. Any more discussion on the street sweeper?
Where's the grant from? Is it the state, federal government? Okay, U.S. Department of Agriculture. I missed that. I got it.
Okay, roll call, Jeff?
Chris Head,
Yes.
Chris Head, yes?
Chris Head, yes.
I don't know.
Mary Jean Krieger,
Mary Jean Graver, yes.
Mitch Magnus,
Mitch Magnus, yes.
Linda DeWalt, absent. Bill Boswell,
Bill Boswell, yes.
Heath Kirkpatrick,
Heath Kirkpatrick, yes.
Joel Williams,
Joel Williams, yes.
Wayne Combs,
Wayne Combs, yes.
motion carried.
Okay. Bill, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hope all turns out well with you. We've only got a few things
Wear a
left.
mask.
I'm sorry?
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Oh, wear a mask. Yeah, I'll be getting into that a little bit here too. We've got the Leaf pickup down there, and I know Christine gets a lot of calls on this. Some people don't know what ward they're in, and we understand that. I'm not sure we know what ward we're in, do we? You know,
Chris,
sometimes.
I know, we're in one.
Sideboard.
So you're in one. So, we've got that, and then council, you're okay with, we don't need a vote on this change of dates, do we, Grant?
For the council.
Yeah.
We always have in the past.
Okay, well then we're gonna vote. I need a motion, to do December 10th and the 17th next month.
I'll make that motion.
We've got Heath
I will second it,
and,
'cause I don't want to be.
young lady over here, making that second, so. All right, any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay.
Yes.
Who's opposed? No? Okay, I think we had an aye come in late. Hey, guys, out there remotely, I don't know if this will help Jeff or not, do you hear me okay? The reason I'm asking is I have the microphone. We removed microphones from everyone. We didn't think they were needed, but I noticed Jeff still has my microphone hooked up. So do you think that's the,
Jerry, you're the only one we can hear.
okay, then Jeff, we've got the solution. We just plug in the microphones.
What the difference is, it takes the owl a moment to switch from my voice to you guys when you are doing roll call. So that's why I asked you to put your name, because it would give me the last part of your name and then your vote. So it takes it just a second to switch from voice to voice.
That is a
Yeah,
slow.
and I see, what I was referring to, Jeff, is the fact that they can't hear us out there. So we've identified the reason. Now, I know playing with the owl, that owl would move and center on the microphone, but I'm sure it's something we can work out before the next meeting. I'm sure we
So
can.
it's not an attempt by the mayor to mute or silence the council?
Silence the council, not a bad idea sometimes. Tonight, no problem tonight. Actually, no problem hardly ever. You know, just under my comments on the COVID, I want to say two things. Bill, I mean, you're making that plea, and I know people aren't hearing this. I hope some people are now, and I think some are. I've had comments from restaurants that they're down this week. Other people are commenting on COVID this week that normally don't. I think they've recognized we're in a real bad place. And I wished everybody could hear me say this. And that is Dr. Romero. You know what he said the other day, and I'm sure you don't watch him every day, but Christine does. He said, if we don't do something, this thing could be unstoppable, out of control. We'd have no control over it. And he's implying today we do. But if we don't act, we will have no control over it. And I think one of the best messages I've heard is what they're promoting now on national TV. And that is the nurses. You know, if you guys have seen that, the nurses holding up the signs, please wear a mask. I am tired. That's what they're saying. I am tired. Please wear a mask. So, let's hope, guys. Let's hope, because, man, it has lost any reason. We look at this thing, we're following the actives every day, and we're up to like 280 right now. And it is, those are numbers. It goes up 35 every day. I mean, those are crazy numbers for Boone County.
I noticed today out at the new facility, there was a double line of cars
Yeah.
there to be tested.
Was there?
And they were already like coming around the curve.
Yeah, Bill mentioned something to me today that I want to echo, and that is that facility is doing a great job. They got their act together out there. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was doing a drive-by.
You were doing a drive-by, huh? Okay.
Absolutely. And I was most impressed. I was, to be honest, very apprehensive, a little bit nervous, obviously so, with the threat of being infected with COVID. I feel great, but that's not the point. It's the point that we have a facility in our community that has, like everybody else, has adapted, adjusted, and they do a wonderful job. Very professional
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
They take the time you need, they answer all your questions. It runs very, very smooth.
Yeah, above expectations. So, with that said, we have two gentlemen in the audience. Either of you want to make a comment of any kind?
Would love to make the opportunity. Would you like to
Sure,
please?
absolutely. You're welcome to come up.
Good afternoon, or evening, everybody.
Yeah, hi.
My name's Mike Wood, and it's a pleasure to represent the House of Hope here this evening. And I just wanted to give a brief update on what we call the warming station at the House of Hope. Many of you may recall last year at the House of Hope, we got together with the mayor, other city leaders, and probably did a similar type presentation. I wasn't involved in that part last year, although I was involved in the warming station. Where we are right now is we've had a couple of Zoom meetings with the 6 volunteer churches that have all stepped back up to take over an individual night at the warming station. Our protocol is that if the weather taking wind chill into account, dips below 32 degrees, we have a little communication protocol. We know what church has what particular night. I'm at Red Oak Baptist Church, so we take Monday nights, and we have a group of volunteers to stay the night with guests that may come into the warming station. Last year, and these numbers are kind of off the top of my head, but they're real darn close. Out of the 99 nights that we considered kind of our season, we were open for 61 nights. We had an average of 6.8 guests per night. I don't know how you get 0.8 of a guest, so I'm going to round that to 7. We had 7 guests per night. If you do the math, we served somewhere around 450 hot meals at night. That's one of the things that the volunteers provide. And let me state again that everyone is doing this. This is not a House of Hope function. We're just providing the building. This is churches that are volunteering their time, their efforts, their service. Of course, that 400 and some odd meals was repeated the next morning. We would serve a breakfast. That is something that was served by the House of Hope, whereas the dinner meal was served by the volunteers themselves. You did hear me mention 6 churches. Well, there's 7 nights. So last year we did have I'm going to forget their number, but it was the National Guard or the Engineering Corps, I think it was, took Wednesday nights last year. This year we've had a citizen step up, and she's going to be coordinating for Wednesday nights. So we have all of our nights covered. So each morning I take a look at the weather, and trust me, that's a harder job than it looks like being a weatherman or weather person. I give them all the credit in the world. But I'll put out are we open today, or are we not open today, and then I'll give a likelihood for the next day, and that kicks off the chain. With the weather as it's been, we haven't been open yet, but we anticipate that'll change either late November, early December, and probably go through at least February. Last year, I think we were open a couple of days in March. One of the only things that has changed is we've kind of upgraded our cleaning procedures. We did obtain a grant to help us with COVID cleaning, and we've contracted with a service that will be coming in each morning after and doing a cleaning protocol to help us out on that front. And we also have a volunteer organization that is going to be taking the blankets home each and every day and providing sanitation and cleaning of those blankets. So my primary purpose in being here, obviously, is to keep city leadership informed. Mayor Jackson and I have had some correspondence on phone and on email and text. The other thing I wanted to mention is that last year, kind of on an ad hoc basis, we made the police station aware, fire department aware, and this year I've got an opportunity to speak with someone at the hospital to make the emergency room aware. We did have a few people dropped off essentially in the middle of the night that may or may not have had a place to go after being discharged from the hospital, or maybe there was a police situation. And we did have people 2, 3 in the morning show up, and at least they had somewhere warm to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm open for any and all questions. Again, I wanted to come here as a courtesy, obviously, and make sure that city leadership knew what was going on and what we're doing.
Yeah, Mike, thank you for coming tonight and updating us. I had a discussion with that same person who took Wednesdays, and they felt that they were needing a little more help. So we're trying to get the word out that we still need volunteers from the general public maybe for Wednesday night. She's wanting to break it up into smaller segments. They start at 6 p.m. and go to 6 a.m., I believe.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Mayor. At 6 a.m., the House of Hope staff starts coming in and preparing for breakfast. Technically, we're open until 8 a.m., but I was one of those ones doing a shift last year, and my shift was 2 to 8, but come 6 o'clock when somebody would come in, I would typically leave, try to grab about an hour's nap, and then try to make a day of it. Try to grab that hour's nap and start the day.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. But yeah, it's easier if it gets split up. Absolutely agree.
So if anybody out there in
Facebook land?
Yeah, Facebook land or Harrison Daily Times land wants to volunteer.
And speaking of, I've got a conversation scheduled for next week with the Harrison Daily Times, and we're
Good.
gonna get a little publicity out there in the
Well,
paper.
that's, they sure do a great job. Actually, I do. I want to commend Jeff. Jeff, you wrote an article, I think it was just last week, Saturday's paper, and I think it was about the junior high. Is that correct? Yeah. You wrote it better than I said it. And I told, no, I mean, really, you just made it sweet. Mine might have been a little rougher, and you sweetened it up. So thank you for that. You do a great job. Seriously, you and James both
Well, if you could help me out, I'd appreciate it too.
do a great job. Yeah, we need help now and then, don't
Yeah,
we?
we all do.
Yeah. Okay,
Any questions from the group?
Well, I would just like to commend you and all your volunteers in the churches. You know, we were here at committee and there was, some people that referred to an adversarial relationship with the church and downtown and all of that. In essence, our community, we're gonna have differences of opinion. I would hope, and Matt Bell made this comment, that he hopes everybody that was, there that night went the next morning and traded on the square. And I hope that they do. I hope, you know, I don't go down there and eat at the poorhouse, but I intend to go down there and have a few meals. I've eaten at the townhouse. But you know, to your point with the volunteers, it's kind of like what I said about the police officers. This ultimately is the most caring community in the world, and sometimes we're just not aware of it. If I had the opportunity, and I don't, given my commitment, I would certainly be willing to volunteer down there.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I appreciate that.
you know, they also mentioned that the volunteers like to recruit somebody to supply food. And that, I mean, you don't have to supply, you know, you just order it, pick it up, and deliver it is a good way to do it. So
Yeah,
that's-
Little Caesars came in awfully handy several
Yeah.
Mondays the last time, but there's other,
Sure.
other restaurateurs
I
that we can
understand.
frequent as well.
All right, Mike.
I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Have a
you.
good
We
evening.
appreciate you hanging around tonight. I'm sorry to.
No, it's all good. I learned something.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah.
And thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you need anything? Okay. All right, well, this is the time.
I want to wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we're out of here. Thank you. Thank you all. Big night tonight. Chuck? You're fired. No, Chuck. What?
You're fine.